it's been very frustrating, and it's certainly been a test of our resilience. The sport was struggling for numbers. There's been a decline in adult participation. The youth participation was actually heading in the right direction, and we were really bullish. We were getting the fledgling women's rugby up and going. So there were certain aspects that were going well, and then there was concerns about the adults, and then this calamity came along, and it's we'll get through it, but it's just come at a really bad time. I'm concerned that we're going to have a sort of a COVID hangover for several years to come. And I think I speak on behalf of a lot of sports. I just think that when people get used to not doing something, it's extra hard to get them back participating. And, people will pick up different interests, video games instead of actually doing the real thing because they've been playing video sports, So, it's, I don't want to say, woe was I. It's a test. And I think, what's the old expression? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Mm-hmm. So I feel pretty strong right now. So, yeah, it's frustrating. And, Ben and I work on the Association of National Sports Governing Body. It has come up a couple of times. We monitor what's going across the sporting community. It's nice that the Minister Peets, he's alive to the situation. I think, he's been very empathetic with where we all are. I can talk from rugby's point of view. We had a plan to start, and we were on the roadmap, and it was all based on where the community spread was. And literally 5-6 days before we said, yes, we're going to go, there was an uptick. And in actual fact, one of the sporting clubs where we were going to play, they had a specific outbreak in that club. And so it was sort of prophetic that we didn't do it. I said, no, we're going to postpone it for another 2 weeks. 2 weeks became 6 weeks. 6 weeks became 2 months. And, and then people are, and then, it's a very difficult problem to solve from a government perspective in regards to sort of getting guidelines. And I would have liked a little bit more consultations with some of the sports governing bodies in regards to the requirements that they've put in place. The mandatory testing and all this sort of stuff, because there was a lot of dialogue around that, which Earl, I know you, Jason, have covered multiple times. And then we were ready to go again. We had, we said, all right, clubs, let's get together and go. We're going to work with the government guidelines, mandatory test and all that. And 2 of the clubs just said, we can't do it. Our members are not willing to take the chance. And so we sort of said, okay, we'll go with 2 clubs, and we sort of shuffled people over. Those 2 clubs, Mariners and Teachers, very strong executive leadership. The sports administrators, kudos to them. They sort of said, yeah, we're still going. And then, they were, this 25 people bubble that Ben talked about. Obviously, rugby is 15 aside, so that's 30 players. You have 3 referees and assistants, so that's 33 people before you even get into subs. Each team's allowed 6 subs, so you're up to 42, up to about 50 people. And then there's people like me and you, Earl, who will brave the wind and wet just to watch a mediocre game of rugby. So it's challenging. So yeah, the 15-a-side game is on hold. we're actually in the throes of just working with government. We're going to do an exhibition 10s game, I think, on Saturday. That hasn't been finalized, so Ben, don't think that I'm leaving you out of the loop, Earl. It's still being planned, but it's encouraging because there's a core group of very hardcore, dedicated athletes who want to do stuff, who want to play, and so we're going to try to sort of make opportunities for them, but we want to stay safe and we want to stay inside the guidelines. So, yeah, there might be an exhibition 10s tournament. Certainly it won't be of the standard that we had in February. That was a treat. But, yeah, so we're soldiering on through, and I got my fingers crossed. It's kind of interesting. Bermuda's looked upon in the Caribbean certainly as a safe place in regards to COVID, which is a nice sort of perception, I guess. But so we've been asked if we would host a rugby tournament with the Caribbean Championship with 2 teams coming up here. We said in principle, we're looking at June. We said in principle, yeah, if government gives us the green light and we're all ready to go, it'd be wonderful. And I know that would be wonderful for our beleaguered tourist industry because, let's be clear that, sports does help the tourist program. But I don't know. We'll have to, we'll see how that goes. I'm trying to be very pragmatic. I'm trying to be positive, but it's a test. It's a test, and we'll get through this. This too shall pass, I think is something that we all have to believe in. But it's the hangover that I think we're all going to have. And I know rugby struggles are not unique. I'm very good friends with David Sabir, and seeing what's happening over with the BFA, it's heartbreaking. But I understand, what's going on there as well.
Well, let me ask you real quick. So you usually have a 15 season, and you've added in a 10, you have a 7s as well. So would it be safe to say that the 15 season has been canceled for rugby for the 2020-2021 year season?
No, I'm not in that space yet, Earl. Thanks for trying to push me over the cliff, but no, I'm not in that space. I'm still optimistic that we can have, whether it's a season, maybe not, but we may be able to have a knockout tournament, and that would probably be really what it would be dependent upon is that I need 4 weeks of sort of people being able to train, because as much as I used to do it when I was a youth, you need to train to play rugby. It's not something you can just leave the bar stool for and go and take it up. You're going to end up hurting yourself. So you have to do some basal fitness and sort of techniques and get the rust off. So I need a 4-week window where we can do some active training. And then, obviously, I still hold out. The plan is to see if we can do the exhibition 10 games and have people do it. It's sort of like, it was funny, I was going by the BFA field, and it's nice to see some kids down there having a pickup game of football, and there was like, I think, 5 aside, and they were having a knockout. And it wasn't organized by anyone. So there's still a desire to do sports. And if there's still a desire for people to play rugby, then I will do my best, and my executive will do the best to see what we can do for them. And I would encourage other sports governing bodies on the island to try to have that mindset, because it's extremely easy to just say enough, no mas, as boxers once said, right? But I think that the sort of the Rubicon moment will be probably at the end of April. If we're not, if we just can't do it, then, but that will have a knock-on effect in regards to, I'm going to have to tell World Rugby and RAN, Rugby American North, that Bermuda's not in a position to hold a tournament. RAN are still looking to hold the 7s tournament. They're still wanting to have these 2 knockout games. Sorry, my lighting just went. There we go. So yeah, we're we'll see how it goes. It's certainly not going to be 4 rounds of rugby that I used to have to beg and control you to come down there, Earl, and take some pretty second-rate video of, but made our rugby look good.